Hi crafters, and welcome to Creative Moments by G. I'm G, and so happy that you're with us today. We are going to reveal a secret. How do we make those cards that have an inlaid circle? So let's head down to the crafting table and let me show you how it's done. Okay, let me show you what we're talking about. Here we have these inlaid circles. It looks difficult, right? Wrong. It is so easy, and I'm going to show you how to do it. The first thing you need to do is grab you a base card, and that is 8.5 by 5.5 scored at 4 1/4. But not to worry, we will have all these measurements listed over on creativemomentsbyg.com. So you do not have to worry about writing them down. Just sit back and enjoy yourself. The next thing we want to do is create those layers. And so you need to create base card mats. And that means it's just 5.5 by 4 1/4. And we are going to cut them diagonally. So bring in your trimmer. Take your base mat and put in the canal the corner and then twist it and put the other corner up here so that you have both corners in the canal on your trimmer and slice. Now you will be able to make 2 cards because we're going to do this to each base card mat. We're going to grab another mat that we have already cut. We're going to put the corners in the canal. And we are going to slice. Now, I have already taken some beautiful DSP or patterned paper, and I went ahead and I cut the base mat, and then I put the corners into the canal and I sliced. Now, the next thing we need to do is decide how do we want our colors to look. So we're just going to kind of put them here just to see which configuration we want. Do we like this granny apple green color next to this calypso coral? Or might we like it better like this? I like it better that way. So once you have this lined up, we're going to bring in our dies, and you need nesting circles. So I have just selected these dies. You can select any circles you want, and we'll also have our materials listed over on our blog. So we're going to take the largest circle with the top mat, okay? So you can just kind of move those to the side, put this back on your card, and just line it up the way that you want it. Now, what I look for is the same distance on the side. You may not have the same distance on the top here because you have a small area to work with, but you can make sure that you have it on the side. So I think that's about exactly where I want it. I'm going to take some removable tape, and I'm just going to put it right there on our patterned paper. And now I'm going to run this through our embossing machine. And I'm going to just lift this off, being very careful with that designer series paper. I'm going to save this because isn't this interesting? We could use this on another card. Now we're taking our second color that we liked, and we are just lining them up together. So easy, right? This is so easy. We're just going to put it back down on our card, making sure that everything is lined up perfectly. Just like this. Now we're taking our next nesting circle, and we are going to put it right here on our granny apple cardstock. Just right here. I'm going to bring back in my tape and tape that down, and now I can remove this one. And I'm going to run this through our embossing machine. Now we're going to lay all 3 pieces together. So we're just going to line this one up, lay it on the card, lay our top one on the card just that we can see what it looks like. Look at how pretty that looks. Now bring in your smallest circle and line it up on that last piece, right where you want it, about right there. I'm going to bring in my removable tape, move these out of the way, and now I'm going to run this through our embossing machine. And now we're ready to put it together. So we're going to take our last piece that we just cut, and we're going to lay it down first. Our second piece. And our top piece of patterned paper. Now, you don't have to use patterned paper. Stay with us to the end, and I'm going to show you some cards, some additional cards where we did not use patterned paper, and we're just laying that down. Now, look at that. Look at how pretty that is. The secret is out. It is so easy. Now we have these already cut for our next card, right? Now what you need to do is take your smallest die and cut out another circle, because we're going to add that circle right here, and we're going to set it up on dimensionals. But before we do that, let's go ahead and stamp our sentiment. We need to stamp our sentiment right on our card. So we're going to bring in our Knight of Navy. Going to ink this up. Now we're going to lay down our circle. And we're going to decorate it. What we've done is we used our Simply Zinnia, and we cut out just some petals that match these layers right here. So we're just going to set those up on dimensionals and add that right to the front. Now we can curve these petals just a little bit, and since this is Technique Tuesday, let's go ahead and get our scissors and give them a little curl. So just hold the middle and just kind of curl them just a little bit. Now we have the outside, let's work on the inside. We're just going to lay down some very vanilla cardstock. And to match the outside right here, we're going to add this just to the corner. Now this comes from some beautiful patterned paper that we will have listed in the supplies. Okay, and here we go. Love this card, love this technique. You could also do this with rectangles and squares, but let's go ahead and create another one very quickly. This time we're going to go ahead and use just a white base card. So let's decorate the front. Now, we have already selected our 3 colors that we want to work with. We're working with Pumpkin Pie, this beautiful Knight of Navy, and Daffodil Delight. Look at those colors. Now remember, once you get this set up the way you want it, we're going to take the top card, the top base mat, and we're going to take the largest circle and we will be using it with this mat, but first we need to go ahead and cut it diagonally. So take your base mat, put the corners in the canal, and slice. We're going to go ahead and do that to each one. Corners in the canal. And another tip is really start in the middle when you slice. That way you don't scrunch up your corners. And finally, one more. Corners in the canal. Cutter in the middle and slice. So we're going to bring in our top cut triangle, the one that's going to go on the very top, just like this. We're going to bring in our largest circle. We're going to line it up. And remember, we want the same distance on the left and the right. About right there. And we're just going to run it through our embossing machine. And now let's do the rest of our mats. We're going to grab the middle mat and we're going to line this up on our card. Make sure it's even. Add this to the middle, right where you want it. Now let's just make sure everything looks right. We're lining them up. Now we're going to add our third piece to the back. Bring in our smallest die, add it to that mat, and run that through the embossing folder. Now, just to give it a little more interest, let's do something different. Let's run this one through an embossing folder. Oh my goodness, that will make it so pretty. And look at that. Oh, that makes it just pop. So let's start laying this down. And before we do that, I'm going to use my bone folder just to give this a good crease. Now we're going to stamp our sentiment right there. Tap, tap, tap. We already cut out our smallest circle and we're going to add it right there. But before we do that, we used our beautiful stamp set, Citrus Blooms, to stamp and cut out this orange. How cute is that? We're just going to add this right here on top. So I need to cut off just a little bit. So I'm going to add this right here with some glue. And I'm just cutting off this edge right there. We're going to set that up on some dimensionals. We're bringing in a double map for the inside. And look at our two cards. Look at the dimension on this one with that embossing folder. Look at those circles. So pretty. Earlier I showed you this one. Love these colors. They are so happy. We double matted the inside. And finally, look at this card. We used our DSP, some coordinating colors, used this cute little stamp, and on the die cut for the container, we used pattern paper. Look at that one. So take a moment and leave a comment. What do you think about this technique? We have released the secret. It is no longer a secret how easy this card is to make. And we would also love to know which is your favorite. Well, Maudie and I appreciate you spending your time with us this morning during Technique Tuesday. We hope you were inspired and that you take a moment to subscribe to our channel and give us a like. Well, go out and have a fantastic day, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.